Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Um, Happy March 31st. Happy Easter. Happy Transgender Day of Visibility. Now, back in 2009, Transgender Day of Visibility was started to celebrate the successes of transgender and gender nonconforming people, and it's been held annually on March 31st thereafter. This year it happens to fall on Easter. But why let that get in the way of good political slander, shall we? The Republicans are taking aim at President Joe Biden for proclaiming Easter Sunday as Transgender Day of Visibility. Guess what? That's what's going to happen. About every 7 years, the 2 days are going to intersect. Easter changes from year to year. Transgender Day of Visibility does not. Great quotes. Let's see. Several Republicans. They didn't say who said this. House Speaker Mike Johnson said the Biden administration had betrayed the central tenet of Easter. The American people are taking note. There's a quote here, and they didn't assign it to anyone. Several Republicans seized on Biden's proclamation to attack the president. It's appalling and insulting that Joe Biden's White House formally proclaimed Easter Sunday as Trans Day of Visibility. That's Trump. The Trump campaign said that. Great. Absolutely great. White House spokesman Andrew Bates said, as a Christian who celebrates Easter with family, President Biden stands with bringing people together and upholding the dignity and freedoms of every American. Sadly, it's unsurprising politicians are seeking to divide and weaken our country with cruel, hateful, and dishonest rhetoric. President Biden will never abuse his faith for political purposes or profit. Oh, there's a slam on the hawk in the Bibles thing. Oh, ouch. Happy Easter by your Bibles. Oh, Lord. This is where things get disingenuous with the Republicans. Now, mind you, Democrats did similar things when Trump was president. And you have to get past the outrage and look at the facts. And no, because like some of the headlines I would read were clickbaity, but when you read the story, it's like, whatever. Like in this case, this is really a a whatever story. Or how dare he proclaim this? It's like, dude, it's been on March 31st since 2009. Every March 31st is Transgender Day of Visibility. It just happens it's on Easter this year. The answer should be, then why are the Republicans making a big deal out of it? They shouldn't be. But the Republicans also know that generally speaking, pretty much as a rule of thumb, that their constituents don't fact check them. They just listen to what they say and they do what they're told. Got to be better than that. What's the energy around Transgender Day of Visibility, the Republican Party proclamations, and all that good stuff? Entertainment purposes only. Let's see what we've got. Judgment. No, it's kind of funny, especially that it lands on Easter Sunday this year, which to friends of Michelle's. Now, mind you, I'm born Catholic, so I do refer to it as Easter Sunday. Michelle was not. She and her friends, the pagans and such that they are, they refer to it as Zombie Jesus Day, because that's when Jesus rises from the dead. And look who's rising from the dead. Easter Sunday. The other thing I would just throw out there on Zombie Jesus Day, otherwise known as Easter Sunday, why did Jesus rise? He was crucified for our sins. He rose from the dead to show that there was that resurrection and that he's dying for our sins and everything's going to be forgiven. Everything's going to be okay. And what do these evangelical Christians? Because they're not. They're just, they're not. They say they are, but they're not. What do they say? Talk about ignoring the teachings of Christ. Anyways, judgment, Easter Sunday. You shouldn't be judging people for their choices. That if they're transgender, they're transgender. If they feel like they're born in the wrong body and they want to change the gender to match how they feel inside, that's on them. Who are you to judge? Very anti-Christ type behaviors. Judgment, Wheel of Fortune. How funny. Because this is change. This is change. This could be a great description of somebody who feels like a man trapped in a woman's body or a woman trapped in a man's body. Every day you keep going round and round on this until you do something to change it. This could also be a great card for resurrection. It's the wheel of life. You die, you're born, you live your life, you die, and you're reborn. Around and around and around again. Underneath is the King of Swords. Believe that, God, now I'm going to fail my Christianness here. Who was the king that ordered Pontius Pilate to bring Christ in? Oh, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Okay, I'm going to have to look it up. Well, no wonder I get confused on this one, because even as I read it now, I get confused. It says that Emperor Tiberius, Pontius Pilate was serving under Emperor Tiberius, and that Joseph Caiaphas was the high priest of Jerusalem, who, according to biblical accounts, sent Jesus to Pilate for execution. And then there was King Herod, who wants to see Jesus because he wants him to do a miracle for him for his entertainment. As Herod interrogates Jesus, he also mocks him to his amusement, eventually dressing Jesus in a gorgeous and elegant robe as a joke before sending him back to Pilate. So, authority figures doing things underneath that. And again, it's not for people to judge other people's fate in their lifetimes. And sitting there, casting judgment like Pontius Pilate did, or King Herod, or others, it's wrong. And you shouldn't be doing that. But it's just, you're watching the same play out time and time again. In the past, it's the Lover's card. What a great card. Coming down from heaven. Adam and Eve type thing. There's the serpent on the apple tree. But what are genders? In this case, you've got a male and a female. And when you do reincarnate, your spirit can choose either vessel to be in, a male body or a female body. I think technically our spirits are not, they're gender neutral, because when you're energy, there's no gender. But I think I've also heard that our souls tend to prefer certain genders over others. Like if we were to tally up our previous lifetimes, it's probably not a 50-50 split. There's going to be a bias in there. But, Lover's card. Coming down from heaven, you have the blessing of God. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. All it matters is that you're a child, son, daughter, whatever you want to look at it, of God. But people are so quick to rush to judge. Can't have this because they don't know what to do with it. Again, the King of Swords, the Knight of Swords. This is not a problem with the transgender people. This is the problem of other people that can't wrap their heads around somebody who feels like they're a man trapped in a woman's body or a woman trapped in a man's body. They're the ones who can't handle it. It's not the transgender person's fault. It's the other people's fault. They're the ones casting judgment. We're all God's children. He loves us all. He loves us all equally. No matter how good you behave or crappy you behave. And, we apparently volunteered to come down here and go through this lifetime. By the way, look at all these major arcana here. Who are you to judge somebody's choices? As this person pours out the water, some of the water goes back in the pond, some goes on the ground. Some people might say, oh, it's great that the water goes back in this little pool here, and this water on the ground is wasted. Other people might say, oh, look, you're watering the grass and helping the grass, And this water is just going back to source, so it's not really making a difference on anything. All perspective. Another major arcana. Lesson to be learned, it's the Fool card. This is other people's journeys. Don't judge. Not your journey, their journey. Leave them alone. Let them do what they've got to do. The outcome is the Eight of Coins. We'll be working on these values for a while. The Eight of Coins, health and wealth. I don't think of this as a wealth card. I think of this as more of a health card. It's, practicing. Again, you could be coming down, again, as reincarnation, as males or females. And you come down to Earth to learn and to practice. And whether you're a male or a female will help with the lessons that you're here to learn. It doesn't, everybody's got a hard enough go on it without some people making it more difficult. Now, are they here to make life more difficult? I don't think you're supposed to start off that way, but some people are really, really good at it. Really, really good at making other people's lives difficult. Why, other than political points and outrage, why are the... I don't even need to throw in why the GOP is doing this. It's so annoying. I don't even know what to ask on this one. Okay. Usually I have no problem thinking of questions on this one. This is just annoying. Just Spirit, throw out some more information for me. Just general information at this point. I'll try to do my best to translate it. Come on down. The first thing that comes to mind is Mary Magdalene, and people judged her, accusing her of being a lady of the night. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it's funny how they will just slam anybody they don't like. Ten of Swords. This is just beating people down. Things need to come to an end. It's almost like the cruelty needs to stop. And more heartbreak, betrayal. The Star card. And I think this is, okay, so what this is this is taking the Judgment and expanding on that Judgment card. People feel like, you chose to come down here as a male, or you chose to come down here as a female, and for some reason, for you to change your mind is a blasphemy to God. It's one of those things. And they never stop to think for a second that the person who came down here, maybe one of their lessons was to go through this and experience both genders and to make their choices and find their truths, their own personal truths on this. But other people are taking their lives and trying to imprint their values onto others. That's not how it works. The reason why these folks didn't go through transgenders isn't because they were afraid of betraying God. It's because this was not a life lesson for them to learn. Again, life is difficult enough. You don't have to be a jerk and make it even harder. In the past, we got the Chariot card. Everybody's got their life to live. And whatever choices that you make, those are your choices. And you get all the benefits and get all the consequences of your choices. In this case, the choices that transgender people are dealing with are, do I conform to what I think other people want me to do, or do I go with what's in my heart? And coming out is such a hard thing because people will judge you. So it's one of those things that it's been a secret for a long time. It's something we don't talk about. I think in my lifetime, Dr. Renee Richards was the first transgender person that I knew of. She was a tennis player. She's only well known because she was a professional tennis player in the mid-70s, right around the time that Billie Jean King was dominating women's tennis, to be followed by like Marina Navratilova and Chris Everett in that era. And Dr. Renee Richards was a very prominent tennis player. And even back then they were discussing whether or not Dr. Renee Richards should be allowed to play in women's tennis because Dr. Renee Richards was a man. Something we've not been dealing with in this country for 50 years. We're making progress. I will say this, we made progress. Heck, we've got, in 2009, we have a National Transgender Day where people can look and be aware and celebrate the triumphs of transgender people. So there is something to be said for that. Lesson to be learned is the King of Swords. Stop being so damn judgy. They're the ones who have to go into the knife, not you. It's their choices, not yours. Leave them alone. Out comes the Wheel of Fortune. Yep, it's up for them to make their choices. And, you know, if they want to change, they want to change. It's just interesting seeing the same cards come up in different positions like that. Is there a resurrection story in all this? Yeah, let's look at this from a resurrection point of view. No, Christ killed, disappointing, heartbreak, betrayal. Throw Judas out there, throw Pontius Pilate, the disciples and such. Jesus, and no, again, Jesus being the star here. This was an inevitable conclusion to Christ's life. And then you've got the decision to resurrect. 3 days, the Holy Trinity. 3 days after he resurrects, visits his disciples. And now his disciples need to make a choice. Are they going to continue with Christ's teaching, or are they going to stop? They go forward. They make their life decisions to go forward and spread Christianity and the teachings of Christ. So, you can take that same throw and overlay an Easter Sunday sensibility to it. And it overlays really nicely and easily. The thing with religion and the people that really like religion tends to be they really like structure and they don't like gray. Law and order, military, religions, they all have a well-defined hierarchy. There is black and there is white, and you try to minimize gray as much as possible. Spiritual people, they don't have a problem with gray. As a matter of fact, gray is preferred probably to the black and whites. I mean, black and whites are more like the guardrails, right and wrong. But there's a lot of wiggle room in between the right and the wrong for spiritual people to navigate. But again, people that like a lot of structure also means they don't like a lot of change, because change disrupts their structure that they feel comfortable in. And then they get nervous and scared. And when you're nervous and scared, you're living in fear instead of joy. And then fear is a negative energy, and it brings your energy down. And so you lash out at the things that you perceive to be causing your fear. Your fear is inside. You have to deal with your fear yourself. That's something for you to overcome, not for other people to change the way they are so that you're less fearful. See how this all works out? And tell me, and it's like, it explains everything that's going on here. So what ends up happening? These transgender people, they don't get to live their truths because too many other people can't handle it. And so either they conform to make life easier on themselves so it's easier on other people and they don't poop on them every chance they can, or they try to be true to themselves and then they run the risk of being ostracized or shunned or ridiculed or physically attacked because other people can't deal with their own stuff. And so they have to find somebody to hate and somebody to direct their anger at. This is a difficult place to live in. Just saying. I'm going to leave it here. I don't really know how much more I can add on it, and I'm just pontificating at this point. Hope you all are having a good Easter, or Zombie Jesus Day, or just a Sunday, March 31st, as the case may be. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your likes, shares, comments, everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm so my video makes it out to a wider audience. To people just discovering this channel recently or for the first time, welcome to the channel. Glad you found us. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.